All right. Hello, I'm Lee, and we're going to continue reading Genesis. We left off at chapter 26 last time, and comparing the Dead Sea Scrolls fragments, the Brenton Septuagint, KJV, Targums, Book of Jubilees. So, happy Sabbath, everyone. And we're going to go to Genesis 27. It looks like in the Dead Sea Scrolls we've got 38, 39, 42, 43. How this is read here, the main thing to pay attention to is if the scroll is different from traditional text words, and the traditional texts that are missing from the text of the scroll are marked through in red like this. And if the scroll from the traditional text, the word in the scroll that are not in the traditional text are underlined red like this. And I'll move my chair over here. Oh, there you go. New words. And in red. So that's how this is written here when you run across those. This is the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible on Google Play Store. You can get it there, or you can buy it in print. And they've got verses 38, 42, 43 here, and they've got footnotes to go with it. This is online only, Dead Sea Scrolls English Bible.com. I've left the links below. And I left links for the Septuagint here, King James Version Online, the Targum. This is the Pentateuchal Targum. I left links to that. And Jubilees at sacredtext.com. I left links to that below. And this is Blue Letter Bible to look up the words in the original language. So let's get started. This is Brenton Septuagint, Genesis chapter 27. And it came to pass after Isaac was old, and that his eyes were dim, so that he could not see. And he called Esau his elder son, and said to him, My son. And he said, Behold, I am here. And he said, Behold, I am grown old, and know not the day of my death. Now then take thy weapons, both thy quiver and thy bow, and go into the plain, and get me venison. And make me meats, as I like them, and bring them to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard Isaac speaking to Esau his son, and Esau went to the plain to procure venison for his father. And Rebekah said to Jacob, her younger son, Behold, I have heard thy father speaking to Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and prepare me meats, that I may eat, and bless thee before Yahuwah, before I die. Now then, my son, hearken to me as I command thee, and go to the cattle, and take for me thence 2 kids, tender and good, and I will make them meats for thy father as he likes. And thou shalt bring them in to thy father, and he shall eat, that thy father may bless thee before he dies. And Jacob said to his mother Rebekah, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I a smooth man. Peradventure my father may feel me, and I shall be before him as one ill-intentioned, and I shall bring upon me a curse, and not a blessing. And his mother said to him, On me be thy curse, son, only hearken to my voice, and go and bring them me. So he went and took and brought them to his mother, and his mother made meats as if his father liked them. And Rebekah, having taken the fine raiment of her elder son Esau, which was with her in the house, put it on Jacob her younger son. And she put on his arms the skins of the kids, and on the bare parts of his neck. And she gave the meats and the loaves which she had prepared into the hands of Jacob her son. And he brought them to his father, and said, Father. And he said, Behold, I am here. Who art thou, son? And Jacob said to his father, I, Esau, thy firstborn, have done as thou toldest me. Rise, sit, and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said to his son, What is this which thou hast quickly found? And he said, That which Yahuwah Elohim presented before me. And Isaac said to Jacob, Draw nigh to me, and I will feel thee, son, if thou art my son Esau or not. And Jacob drew nigh to his father Isaac, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he knew him not, for his hands were as the hands of his brother Esau, hairy, and he blessed him. And he said, Art thou Get stuffed up right when I start. And he said, Art thou my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring hither, and I will eat of thy venison, son, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he ate. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And Isaac his father said to him, Draw nigh to me, and kiss me, son. And he drew nigh, and kissed him, and smelled the smell of his garments, and blessed him, and said, Behold, the smell of my son is as the smell of an abundant field, which Yahuwah has blessed. And may Yahuwah give thee of the dew of heaven, and of the fatness of the earth, and abundance of corn and wine. And let nations serve thee, and princes bow down to thee. And be thou lord of thy brother, or master of thy brother. And the sons of thy father shall do thee reverence. Accursed is he that curses thee, and blessed is he that blesses thee. And it goes to 38. And it came to pass after Isaac had ceased blessing his son Jacob, it even came to pass just when Jacob had gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting, and he also had made meats and brought them to his father. And he said to his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said to him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy firstborn son Esau. And Isaac was amazed with very great amazement, and said, Who then is it that has procured venison for me, and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and I have blessed him, and he shall be blessed. And it came to pass, when Esau heard the words of his father Isaac, he cried out with a great and bitter cry, and said, Bless, I pray thee, me also, father. And he said to him, Thy brother has come with subtlety, and taken thy blessing. And he said, Rightly was his name called Jacob, for lo, this second time has he supplanted me. He has taken both taken my birthright, and now he has taken my blessing. And Esau said to his father, Hast thou not left a blessing for me, father? And Isaac answered and said to Esau, If I have made him thy master, and have made all his brethren his servants, and have strengthened him with corn and wine, what then shall I do for thee, son? So 38, and Esau said to his father, Do you have just one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Isaac his father answered him, Behold, of the fatness of the earth will be your dwelling, and the dew of the sky from above. So we're missing part of 39 up to 42. Sky from above, so 40. And thou shalt live by thy sword, and shalt serve thy brother, and there shall be a time when thou shalt break and loosen his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau was angry with Jacob because of the blessing with which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his mind, Let the days of my father's mourning draw nigh, that I may slay my brother Jacob. The words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. She sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, Behold, your brother Esau comforts himself about you by planning to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee to Laban, my brother, in Haran. 43. Now then, my son, hear my voice, rise and depart quickly into Mesopotamia, to Laban, my brother, into Haran. So the Septuagint's got Mesopotamia. And dwell with him certain days until thy brother's anger and rage depart from thee, and he forget what thou hast done to him. And I will send and fetch thee thence, lest at any time I should be bereaved of you both in one day. And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of the sons of Shet. If Jacob shall take a wife of the daughters of this land, wherefore should I live? 28. Wow, the next one's 32 in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So pretty similar there. 28, 27, 26. Interesting thing with the Targums, it says, therefore the word of Yahuwah give thee of the good dews which descend from the heavens. You know who the word is, right? And of the good fountains that spring up, and make the herbage of the earth to grow from beneath, and plenty of provision and wine. Let the peoples be subject to thee, all the sons of Esau, and the kingdoms bend before thee, all the sons of Keturah. Chief and a ruler be thou over thy brethren, and let the sons of thy mother salute thee. Let them who curse thee, my son, be accursed as Balaam bar Beor. And that's probably added. This is the Genesis Targums, and Balaam Beor is in the Exodus account of Numbers. You know, so they added that in there. Laban, Jacob, and what's interesting about this here is, and by thy weapons thou shalt live, and before thy brother be subject, and it shall be when the sons of Jacob labor in the law and keep the commandments, they will set the yoke of subjection on thy neck. But when the sons of Jacob withdraw themselves and study not the law, nor keep the commandments, behold, then shalt thou break their yoke of subjection from off thy neck. And what happened to Israel when they broke the commandments and went astray? Bam. That's very interesting. And let's see, so Jubilees, chapter 26. Isaac, for me. So I'll show up here. Now this is interesting. In Jubilees it says, and Jacob said, because Yahuwah thy Elohim caused me to find, because he asked him how he found the venison or the food so quickly for him. And Isaac said unto him, come near that I may feel thee, my son, if thou art my son Esau or not. And Jacob went near to Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because it was a dispensation from heaven to remove his power of perception, and Isaac discerned not, for his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's, so that he blessed him. And he said, art thou my son Esau? And he said, I am thy son. And he said, bring near to me. And came near. And may all the blessings wherewith Yahuwah hath blessed me and blessed Abraham my father be imparted to thee and to thy seed forever. Cursed be that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Jubilee says, when thou becomest great and dost shake his yoke from off thy neck, thou wilt sin a complete sin unto death, and thy seed will be rooted out from under heaven. That's Esau's seed. So we got 28, missing all the way to 32 in Genesis. So we're going to have to rely on the Septuagint KJV. Chapter 28, and Isaac, having called for Jacob, blessed him and charged him, saying, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of the Canaanites. Hey, William. Rise and depart quickly into Mesopotamia, to the house of Bethuel, the father of thy mother, There's Mesopotamia again. And take to thyself thence a wife of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother, and may my Elohim bless thee and increase thee and multiply thee, and thou shalt become gatherings of nations, and may he give thee the blessing of my father Abram, even to thee and to thy seed after thee, to inherit the land of thy sojourning, which Yahuwah gave to Abram. So Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went into Mesopotamia to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob, and Esau. And Esau saw that Isaac blessed Jacob, and sent him away to Mesopotamia of Syria, as he blessed him, to take to himself a wife thence. And that he charged him, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of the Canaanites. And that's because Canaan was cursed for taking Shem's inheritance. The curse through Ham and Canaan cursed, sons of Noah. And that Jacob hearkened to his father and his mother, and went to Mesopotamia of Syria. And Esau also, having seen that the daughters of Canaan were evil before his father Isaac, Esau went to Ishmael, and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, the son of Abram, the sister of Nebaioth, a wife in addition to his other wives. And Jacob went forth from the well of the oath, and departed into Haran, and came to a certain place, and slept there, for the sun had gone down. And he took one of the stones of the place, and put it at his head, and lay down to sleep in that place, and dreamed, and behold, a ladder fixed on the earth, whose top reached to heaven, and the angels of Yahuwah ascended and descended on it. And Yahuwah stood upon it, and said, I am thy Elohim of thy father Abram, and the Elohim of Isaac. Fear not the land on which thou liest. To thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the sand of the earth, and it shall spread abroad to the sea, and the south, and the north, and the east. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the tribes of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee to preserve thee continually in all the way wherein thou shalt go. And I will bring thee back into this land, for I will not desert thee until I have done all that I have said to thee. And Jacob awakened out of his sleep, and said, Yahuwah is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How fearful is this place? This is none other than the house of Yahuwah, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up in the morning, and took the stone he had laid there by his head, and he set it up as a pillar, and poured oil on the top of it. And he called the name of that place the house of Yahuwah. And the name of the city before was Ulam Luz. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If Yahuwah will be with me, and guard me throughout on this journey on which I am going, and give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, and bring me back in safety to the house of my father, then shall Yahuwah be for Elohim to me. And this is the stone which I have set up for a pillar, shall be to me a house of Yahuwah. And of all whatsoever thou shalt give me, I will tithe a tenth for thee. See here, Esau. This is Jubilees. Rebecca went. And this is a little extra to the story of Esau taking wives. Rebekah went in and said to Isaac, I loathe my wife because of the two daughters of Heth, whom Esau has taken as wives. And if Jacob take a wife from among the daughters of the land such as these, for what purpose do I further live? For the daughters of Canaan are evil. That is not in our Genesis. And Isaac called Jacob, blessed him, and admonished him, and said unto him, he told him, Do not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Mesopotamia. There it is. So it is Mesopotamia. Septuagint and Jubilees agree. And he will be increased to be a company of nations. To become a company of nations, not just Israel. Isaac sent Jacob away. He went to Mesopotamia, to Laban. Isaac comforts his wife. Weep not on account of Jacob my son, for he goeth in peace, and in peace will he return. The Most High Elohim will preserve him from all evil, and will be with him, for he will not forsake him all his days. For I know that his ways will be prospered in all things wherever he goeth, until he return in peace to us, and we see him in peace. Fear not on his account, my sister, for he is on the upright path, and he is a perfect man, and he is faithful and will not perish. So Isaac is telling us about Jacob. Weep not. Isaac comforted Rebekah on account of her son Jacob and blessed him. Jacob went to the well of the oath. In the 44th Jubilee, he came to Luz on the mountains, that is Bethel, on the new moon of the first month. He slept there. A ladder set up on the earth, top of its reached to heaven. The angels of Yahuwah ascended and descended on it, and Yahuwah stood upon it. He spake to Jacob, I am Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham thy father, and the Elohim of Isaac. Yep, he told him the same thing in Genesis. All the families of the nations will be blessed. The gate of heaven. It's very interesting. It's the gate of heaven and the house of Yahuwah. He poured oil upon the stone. Yeah. To Laban. Okay. So we're on 29. And Jacob started and went to the land of the east to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, and the brother of Rebekah, mother of Jacob and Esau. And he looks, and behold, a well in the plain, and there were 3 flocks of sheep resting at it. For out of that well they watered the flocks. But there was a great stone at the mouth of the well, and there were all the flocks gathered, and they used to roll away the stone from the mouth of the well, and water the flocks, and set the stone again in its place on the mouth of the well. And Jacob said to them, Brethren, whence are ye? And they said, We are of Haran. And he said to them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We do know him. And he said to them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel, his daughter, came with the sheep. And Jacob said, It is yet high day. It is not yet time that the flocks be gathered together. Water ye the flocks, and depart and feed them. And they said, We shall not be able, until all the shepherds be gathered together, and they shall roll away the stone from the mouth of the well. Then we will water the flocks. While he was yet speaking to them, behold, Rachel, the daughter of Laban, came with her father's sheep, for she fed the sheep of her father. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob came and rolled away the stone from the mouth of the well, and watered the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel, and cried with a loud voice, and wept. And he told Rachel that he was the near relative of her father, and the son of Rebekah. And she ran and reported to her father according to these words. And it came to pass, when Laban heard that the name of Jacob, his sister's son, he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him into his house. And he told Laban all these sayings. And Laban said to him, Thou art my bones, of my bones and my flesh. And he was with him a full month. And Laban said to Jacob, Surely thou shalt not serve me for nothing, because thou art my brother. Tell me what thy reward is to be. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And the eyes of Leah were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in appearance and exceedingly fair in countenance. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for thy younger daughter Rachel. And Laban said to him, It is better that I should give her to thee than I should give her to another man. Dwell with me. And Jacob served for Rachel 7 years, and they were before him as a few days, by reason of his loving her. And Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in to her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a marriage feast. And it was even, and he took his daughter Leah, and brought her in to Jacob, and Jacob went into her. And Laban gave to his daughter Leah Zilpah his handmaid, as a handmaid for her. And it was morning, and behold, it was Leah. And Jacob said to Laban, What is this that thou hast done to me? Did I not serve thee for Rachel? And wherefore hast thou deceived me? And Laban answered, It is not done thus in our country to give the younger before the elder. Fulfill then her sevens, and I will give to thee her also in return for thy labor, which thou laborest with me, yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her sevens. And Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to wife. And Laban gave to his daughter Rachel, his handmaid Bilhah, for a handmaid to her. And he went in to Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served him 7 other years. And when Yahuwah Elohim saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bore a son to Jacob, and she called his name Reuben, saying, Because Yahuwah has looked on my humiliation and has given me a son, now then my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bore a second son to Jacob, and she said, Because Yahuwah has heard that I am hated, he has given to me this one also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived yet again and bore a son. Sore back. And said, In the present time my husband will be with me, for I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore she called his name Levi. And having conceived yet again, she bore a son, and said, Now yet again this time will I give thanks to Yahuwah. Therefore she called his name Judah, and ceased bearing. So 30. Yeah, biblical marriage. See, Laban made a feast and gave Leah his daughter to Jacob. And he went in unto her, married. It's written and ordained in the heavenly tablets that no one should give his younger daughter before the elder, but the elder one giveth first and after the younger. And the man who doeth so, they set down guilt against him in heaven, and none is righteous that doeth this thing, for this deed is evil before Yahuwah. So to give the younger daughter before the older daughter in marriage is evil, and it's on the heavenly tables. Command now the children of Israel, let them take nor give the younger before they have given the elder, for it is very wicked. So you don't take the younger before you take the older. Let 7 days of the feast of this one pass by, and I shall give thee Rachel. Leah, Reuben. Rachel envied Leah. So Rachel give him Bilhah, her handmaid, after Leah bare Judah. Alright, so we're on chapter 30. And Rachel, having perceived that she bore Jacob no children, was jealous of her sister, and said to Jacob, Give me children, and if not, I shall die. And Jacob was angry with Rachel, and said to her, Am I in the place of Yahuwah, who has deprived thee of the fruit of the womb? And Rachel said to Jacob, Behold, my handmaid Bilhah, go into her, and she shall bear upon my knees. I also shall have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah, her maid, for a wife to him. And Jacob went into her, and Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived and bore Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God has given judgment for me, and hearkened to my voice, and has given me a son. Therefore she called his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived yet again, and bore a second son to Jacob. And Rachel said, Yahuwah has helped me, and I contended with my sister and prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. And Leah saw that she ceased from bearing, and she took Zilpah, her handmaid, and gave her to Jacob for a wife, and he went in unto her. And Zilpah, the maid of Leah, conceived and bore Jacob a son. And Leah said, It is happily. And she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, the maid of Leah, conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. And Leah said, I am blessed, for the women will pronounce me blessed. and she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the day of barley harvest and found apples of mandrakes in the field, and brought them to his mother Leah. And Rachel said to Leah her sister, Give me of thy son's mandrakes. And Leah said, Is it not enough for thee that thou hast taken my husband? Wilt thou also take my son's mandrakes? And Rachel said, Not so, let him lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob came in out of the field at evening, and Leah went forth to meet him, and said, Thou shalt come in to me this day, for I have hired thee for my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. And Yahuwah hearkened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. And Leah said, Yahuwah has given me my reward, because I gave my maid to my husband. And she called his name Issachar, which is reward. And Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. And Leah said, Yahuwah has given me a good gift in this time. My husband will choose me, for I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And after this she bore a daughter, and she called her name Dinah. And Yahuwah remembered Rachel, and Yahuwah hearkened to her, and he opened her womb, and she conceived and bore Jacob a son. And Rachel said, Yahuwah has taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, saying, Let Yahuwah add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me away, that I may go to my place and to my land, restore my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, that I may depart. For thou knowest the service wherewith I have served thee. And Laban said to him, If I have found grace in thy sight, I would augur well. For Yahuwah has blessed me at thy coming in. Appoint me thy wages, and I will give them. And Jacob said, Thou knowest in what things I have served thee, and how many cattle of thine are with me. For it was little thou hadst before my time, and it is increased to a multitude. And Yahuwah Elohim has blessed thee since my coming. Now then, when shall I set up also my own house? And Laban said to him, What shall I give thee? And Jacob said to him, Thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again tend thy flocks and keep them. Let all thy sheep pass by today, and separate thence every gray sheep among the rams, and every one that is speckled and spotted among the goats. This shall be my reward, and my righteousness shall answer for me on the morrow. For it is my reward before thee. Whatsoever shall not be spotted and speckled among the goats, and gray among the rams, shall be stolen with me. And Laban said to him, Let it be according to thy word. And he separated in that day the spotted and speckled he-goats, and all the spotted and speckled she-goats, and all that was gray among the rams, and every one that was white among them. And he gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set a distance of 3 days' journey between them. And Jacob tended the cattle of Laban that were left behind. And Jacob took to himself green rods of storax tree, and walnut, and a plane tree. And Jacob peeled in them white stripes, and as he drew off the green, the white stripe which he had made appeared alternate on the rods. And he laid the rods which he had peeled in the hollows of the watering troughs, that whensoever the cattle should come to drink, as they should have come to drink before the rods, the cattle might conceive at the rods. So the cattle conceived at the rods, and the cattle brought forth speckled, and streaked, and spotted with ash-colored spots. And Jacob separated the lambs, and set before the sheep a speckled ram, and every variegated one among the lambs. And he separated flocks for himself alone, and did not mingle them with the sheep of Laban. And it came to pass, in the time wherein the cattle became pregnant, conceiving in the belly, Jacob put the rods before the cattle in the troughs, that they might conceive by the rods, but he did not put them in indiscriminately wherever the cattle happened to bring forth. But the unmarked ones were Laban's, and the marked ones Jacob's. And the man became very rich, and he had many cattle, and oxen, and servants, and maidservants, and camels, and asses. And Jacob heard the words of the sons of Laban. So we're going to look at Jubilees. Second year, Leah becomes sterile, did not bear. Yep, bear 2 children. Yahuwah was gracious to Rachel and opened her womb. Yep. Laban pursued after him. Jacob heard the words of the sons of Laban, saying, Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and of our father's property has he gotten all this glory. And Jacob saw the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. And Yahuwah said to Jacob, Return to the land of thy father and to thy family, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Leah and Rachel to the plain where the flocks were, and he said to them, I see the face of your father, that it is not toward me as before, but the Elohim of my father was with me. And ye too know that with all my might I have served your father, but your father deceived me and changed my wages for the 10 lambs, yet Yahuwah gave him not power to hurt me. If he should say thus, the speckled shall be thy reward, then all the cattle would bear speckled. And if he should say, the white shall be thy reward, then would all the cattle bear white. So Yahuwah has taken away all the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass when the cattle conceived and were with young, that I beheld with mine eyes in sleep, and behold the he-goats and the rams leaping on the sheep. And the she-goats speckled and variegated, and spotted with ash-colored spots. And the angel of Yahuwah said to me in a dream, Jacob. And I said, What is it? And he said, Look up with thine eyes, and behold the he-goats, and the rams leaping on the sheep, and the she-goats, speckled and variegated, and spotted with ash-colored spots. For I have seen all things that Laban does to thee. I am Yahuwah that appeared to thee in the place of Yahuwah, where thou anointest a pillar to me, and vowest to me there a vow. Now then arise and depart out of this land, depart into the land of thy nativity, and I will be with thee. And Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Have we yet a part or inheritance in the house of our father? Are we not considered strangers by him? For he has sold us and quite devoured our money. All the wealth and the glory which Yahuwah has taken from our father, it shall be ours and our children's. Now then do whatsoever Yahuwah has said to thee. And Jacob arose and took his wives and his children up on the camels, and he took away all his possessions and all his store, which he had gotten in Mesopotamia, and all that belonged to him, to depart to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's images. And Jacob hid the matter from Laban the Syrian, so as not to tell him that he ran away. And he departed himself and all that belonged to him, and passed over the river, and went into the mountain Galaad. But it was told Laban the Syrian on the 3rd day that Jacob was fled, and having taken his brethren with him, he pursued after him 7 days. So Jacob was told to go to Laban to take a wife. And they only took wives of their own kin. So Jacob descended from Shem. So who's Laban descend from? Laban the Syrian, Mesopotamia, Shem's descendant. And Yahuwah came to Laban the Syrian in sleep by night, and said to him, Take heed to thyself that thou speak not at any time to Jacob evil things. And Laban overtook Jacob, and Jacob pitched his tent in the mountain, and Laban stationed his brothers in the Mount Galaad. And Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done? Wherefore didst thou run away secretly, and pillage me, and lead away my daughters as captives, taken with the sword? Whereas if thou hadst told me, I would have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, and timbrels, and harp. Obviously Laban's lying here. And I was not counted worthy to embrace my children and my daughters. Now then thou hast wrought foolishly, and now my hand has power to hurt thee. But the Elohim of thy father spoke to me yesterday, saying, Take heed to thyself that thou speak not evil words to Jacob. Now then go on thy way, for thou hast earnestly desired to depart to the house of thy father. Wherefore hast thou stolen my Elohim?" He's talking about his images. So he's stolen his Elohim. That is the images that Sarah took. Rachel stole her father's images. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, "Because I was afraid, for I said, lest at any time thou shouldst take away thy daughters from me and all my possessions. And Jacob said, With whomsoever thou shalt find thy gods, he shall not live in the presence of our brethren." So Jacob cursed whoever took the gods. "Take notice of what I have of thy property, and take it." And he observed nothing with him, but Jacob knew not that his wife Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went in and searched in the house of Leah, and found them not. And he went out of the house of Leah, and searched in the house of Jacob, and in the house of the two maidservants, and found them not. And he went also into the house of Rachel, and Rachel took the idols, and cast them among the camel's packs, and sat upon them. And she said to her father, "Be not indignant, sir. I cannot rise up before thee, for it is with me according to the manner of women." So he's talking about her monthly. Laban searched in all the house, and found not the images. And Jacob was angry, and strove with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, "What is my injustice, and what is my sin, that thou pursuest after me, and that thou hast searched all the furniture of my house? What hast thou found of all the furniture of thine house? Set it here between thy relations and my relations, and let them decide between us two. These 20 years I have been with thee, thy sheep and thy she-goats have not failed in bearing. I have devoured not the rams of thy cattle. That which was taken of beast I brought not to thee. I made good of myself the thefts of the day and the thefts of the night. I was parched with heat by day, and chilled with frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes. These 20 years have I been in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years among thy sheep. And thou didst falsely rate my wages for 10 lambs, unless I had the Elohim of my father Abram, and the fear of Isaac. Now thou wouldst have sent me away empty. Yahuwah saw my humiliation and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesterday." And Laban answered and said to Jacob, "The daughters are my daughters, and the sons are my sons, and the cattle are my cattle, and all things which thou seest are mine, and the property of my daughters. What shall I do to them today, or their children which they bore? Now then, come, let us make a covenant, both I and thou, and it shall be for a witness between me and thee." And he said to him, "Behold, there is no one with us. Behold, Elohim is witness between me and thee." And Jacob, having taken a stone, set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said to his brethren, "Gather stones." And they gathered stones, and made a heap, and ate there upon the heap. And Laban said to him, "This heap witnesses between me and thee today." And Laban called it the heap of testimony, and Jacob called it the witness heap. And Laban said to Jacob, "Behold this heap, and the pillar which I have set between me and thee. This heap witnesses, and this pillar witnesses." Therefore its name was called the heap witnesses. And the vision of which he said, "Let Elohim look to it between me and thee, because we are about to depart from each other. If thou shalt humble my daughters, if thou shouldst take wives in addition to my daughters, see, there is no one with us looking on. Elohim is witness between me and thee." And Laban said to Jacob, "Behold, this heap and this pillar are a witness. For if I should not cross over unto thee, neither shouldst thou cross over to me, for mischief beyond this heap and this pillar. The Elohim of Abram and the Elohim of Nahor judge between us." And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. And he offered a sacrifice in the mountain, and called his brethren, and they ate and drank and slept in the mountain. And that's interesting. He says the Elohim of Nahor, which I think Nahor is the brother of Abraham that died in the fire. Worship idols. So that's 29. Is it Nahor? Let me look right quick. Nahor. I think it's Nahor. Jubilees. Yep. Maybe it's Haran. Nachor's his other brother. Haran. Yeah, Haran died in the fire. Nachor's Abraham's other brother. So Laban's the son of Nachor. Yeah, so he says God of Nachor, God of Abram. 32, 29. So, yep, Laban pursued after him. Did not suffer him to injure Jacob. The heap of witness. The land of Gilead, the land of the Rephaim. The Rephaim were born there, giants whose height was 10, 9, 8 down to 7 cubits. Jubilees tells you there's giants in there. Their habitation was the land of the children of Ammon to Mount Hermon, and the seats of their kingdom were Karnaim and Ashtaroth and Adri and Masur and Beyond. And Yahuwah destroyed them because of the evil of their deeds, for they were very malignant. And the Amorites dwelt in their stead, wicked and sinful. There is no people today which hath wrought to the full all their sins, and they have no longer length of life on the earth. So that's why he destroys the ites. Well, if they're giants, they're mixed with angels, and they're not supposed to be, they don't have the breath of life. And Jacob sent away Laban. He departed in Mesopotamia, the land of the east. Should say, it doesn't say anything about his images. Let's see, 28, no, 31. 31, 20, 32. It does say, and behold, and the angel of Yahuwah said to me in a dream, Jacob. I said, behold me. Jacob answered in the holy tongue and said, behold me. The holy tongue is the language of creation, Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew. Turn land of my birth. Father, land of Canaan. And Jacob stole the knowledge of Laban. Okay, here we go. Rachel stole the images, for they had slain a man, a firstborn, had cut off his head. They salted it with salt and balsams, and wrote incantations on a plate of gold, and put it under his tongue, and set it up in the wall, and it spake with them. And unto such their father bowed himself. And he went, he with all that he had, set his face to ascend toward the mountain of Gilead, because he saw by the Holy Spirit that from thence would be deliverance for his son. Jacob saw by the Holy Spirit strength. He said, why hast thou stolen my idols, or images of my idols? It's images of idols. He curses, whomsoever thou shalt find the images of thy idols, let him die before his time. But Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. Rachel had taken the images and laid them in the panniers of the camels and sat upon them, and he searched all the tent, but found not. And Jacob answered, what is my sin? What is my transgression? Thou hast so eagerly come after me. 20 years. Mound is a witness. Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. It's just interesting that some of the different out of the Targum that they have. And that is Pseudo-Jonathan. You go to Onkelos. Of course, you got to be careful with anything. They mess with all of it. 31. Onkelos says it's shorter. Pseudo-Jonathan is longer. Let's see here. Rachel and Leah. Rachel took the images. It pretty much doesn't give extra details like Pseudo-Jonathan does. So, interesting. 32, we got 29, we got some of the end of 32, so I'll probably read 32, and that'll be the last one. And Laban rose up in the morning and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban, having turned back, departed to his place. And Jacob departed for his journey, and having looked up, he saw the host of Yahuwah encamped. And the angel of Yahuwah met him. And Jacob said when he saw them, this is the camp of Yahuwah, and he called the name of that place Encampments. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, to the land of Seir, to the country of Edom. And he charged them, saying, thus shall you say to my lord Esau, thus saith thy servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban, and tarried until now, and there were born to me oxen and asses and sheep, and men servants and women servants. And I sent to tell my lord or master Esau that thy servant might find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and lo, he comes to meet thee, and 400 men with him. And Jacob was greatly terrified and was perplexed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the cows and the camels and the sheep, into 2 camps. And Jacob said, if Esau should come to one camp and smite it, the other camp shall be in safety. And Jacob said, Yahuwah of my father Abraham and Elohim of my father Isaac, O Yahuwah, thou art he that said to me, depart quickly to the land of thy birth, and I will do thee good. Let there be to me a sufficiency of all the justice and all the truth which thou hast wrought with thy servant. For with this my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 camps. Deliver me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I am afraid of him, lest haply he should come and smite me and the mother upon the children. But thou sayest, I will do thee good, and will make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which shall not be numbered for multitude. And he slept there that night, and took of the gifts which he carried with him, and sent out to Esau his brother 200 she-goats, 20 he-goats, 200 sheep, 20 rams, milch camels, and their foals, 30 and 40 kine, 10 bulls, 20 asses, and 10 colts. And he gave them to his servants. Each drove apart. And he said to his servants, Go on before me, and put a space between drove and drove. And he charged the first, saying, If Esau my brother meet thee, and he asked thee, saying, Whose art thou, and whither wouldst thou go, and whose are these possessions advancing before thee? Thou shalt say, Thy servant Jacob's. He hath sent gifts to my master Esau, and lo, he is behind us. And he charged the first, and the second, and the third, and all that went before him after these flocks, saying, Thus shall you speak to Esau when you find him. And you shall say, Behold, thy servant Jacob comes after us. For he said, I will propitiate his countenance with the gifts going before his presence, and afterwards I will behold his face. For peradventure he will accept me. So the presents went on before him, but he himself lodged that night in the camp. And he rose up in that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 servant maids, and his 11 children, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. And he took them, and passed over the torrent, and brought over all his possessions. And Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till the morning. And he saw that he prevailed not against him. And it's interesting. It says a man wrestled with him till the morning, because you know it's Yahuwah and man. So Messiah, man wrestled with him till the morning, and he touched the broad part of his thigh, and broad part of Jacob's thigh was benumbed in his wrestling with him. And he said to him, Let me go, for the day has dawned. But he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said to him, What is thy name? And he answered, Jacob. And he said to him, Thy name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And who changed Abraham's name? Yahuwah. Who changed Jacob's name? Yahuwah. For thou hast prevailed with God, and shalt be mighty with men. So he wrestled with God, and he wrestled with a man. And Jacob asked and said, Tell me thy name. And he said, Wherefore dost thou ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of that place the face of Yahuwah. For, said he, I have seen Yahuwah face to face, and my life was preserved. So the Messiah says that no man seen Elohim or Yahuwah face to face, but he said he's seen Elohim face to face. So who did he see? He saw the sun. And my life was preserved. And the sun rose upon him when he passed the face of Yahuwah, and he halted upon his thigh, the face of Yahuwah, his son. Therefore the children of Israel will by no means eat of the sinew which was benumbed, which is on the broad part of the thigh, until this day, because the angel just means messenger, touched the broad part of the thigh of Jacob, even the sinew which was benumbed. And Dead Sea Scrolls says, Jacob asked him, Please tell me your name. He said, Why is it that you ask what my name is? He blessed him there. That part's missing. Therefore the children of Israel don't eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the hollow of the thigh to this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh and the sinew of the hip. So we got 33. 33 is not too long. 20 verses. Let's go look at Jubilees right quick here. And to the east, Jacob returned to Gilead. Past Jabbok, Esau's brother. Dotham, he sent father of substance. See, Jacob's righteous. He sent his father Isaac of all his substance, clothing, food, meat, drink, milk, butter, cheese, and some dates of the valley. To his mother Rebekah also 4 times a year. So he took care of his parents. That's called righteous. Esau did not take care of his parents. For Isaac returned to the well of the oath and gone up to the tower of his father Abraham. That's interesting too. Tower of Abraham. Where do we hear about that at? He dwelt there apart from his son Esau, so they separated. Esau, father's wives, left out. Esau dwelt in Mount Seir and left Isaac his father at the well of oath alone. Dwelt in the Tower of Abraham. Blessed Jacob with all their heart. His parents blessed Jacob with all their heart, with all their soul. This tells you that they carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. That is a little later on, I believe. Yeah, this is where he meets with maybe a little past that. Alright, we'll stop at chapter 32. It'll be, yeah, that'll be good. Alright, well, happy Sabbath. I hope that was helpful and a blessing to someone.